Hey everybody, my name is Sam Burge, and today I am reviewing the movie called Scarecrow. It's a 2014 horror movie, so let's begin. Starting off basically with the movie plot. This plot could be considered the most loose, not even, basically, it don't stay straight towards anything. Start off is there's a legend about this scarecrow that killed many people many years ago, and
it never dies. It can't be stopped. Hear their cries.
The scarecrow lives to kill us all.
Keep it buried in the fog.
This whole town celebrates it for some reason as like a memorial to the people, and they call it Harvest Day, the Scarecrow. Well, the story leads up to these two college kids in a barn. They end up falling through, and this thing comes and gets them. That's all you see. Well, later on, about like 10 minutes later, the movie appears to show these kids on this bus coming here, and I'm taking it as this they're bad kids or whatever, juvenile delinquents, whatever, because they were caught with a picture of these two people. They got
those of Chad and Marcy, and then hacking into the school website and posting them and linking them to your Facebook accounts was probably funny, but it was also illegal. You're lucky the parents didn't press charges.
Trouble, so their task is to get this scarecrow, bring it back so they can use it for the harvest, celebration. Yeah, what I like about in horror movies is when it takes time to get to the scary part. Nope, about not even like a few minutes into it later, this happened.
Dad! Dad, where are you? Dad!
Yeah. So far, I had no connections with the people. I had no connections with anybody. I can't even relate, because by the time that something started happening, people that I didn't even get to get in touch with, it didn't even happen. And that kind of got on my nerves. And the movie goes on. They discover that this chick is, related to this whole incident. It's her family farm, and for some reason this thing is after her. It's after her bloodline. Yet again, another horror movie that just goes on with the whole scarecrow bloodline. It's like Dark Harvest. Now, I'm not putting down Dark Harvest. I love Dark Harvest. It's a good show. But what's different from it is it actually makes sense when it uses the whole thing of the scarecrow going after the bloodline, because the bloodline actually did something. The great-grandfather in Dark Harvest killed these men that were helping, like farmhands, and then was using their blood to, for the field so that the harvest would be good. That makes sense. So, onto the cast. Like I said, you never get used to any of these people that are obviously the horny teenager sluts. You got the virgin weirdo. You got another virgin weirdo. Then you got this one chick. I don't know. Her name's Becca, I think it was. And it's just, yeah, you don't get really connected. It's just like, whoever was making this film decided, hey, if we put these elements in here, people are going to relate. Not so true. Just because you put your typical horror movie, jock, slutty teenager, your emos, your stoners, the basic formula that has been mixed up for slasher movies down the years now. And I hate to say it, but that's how it is sometimes. Some people have been mixing slasher and horror together and saying, oh, they're the same thing. But in this instance, it's not always that. Way back in the day when it was the old school horror, if you ever watch it, it's never even like that. Because it never was. You got time to know what the monster was. You understood what the creature was. And like the background at least. So then you'd be like, okay, so this is why this creature's doing this. But in this movie, I consider it a slasher horror, but not much more slasher. but it's more horror because they mix up too many elements. You got a monster and then you got slasher elements. They're mixing things up. And that's the one thing that gets me mad about this movie. It doesn't give you a good storyline. It never gives a storyline where it's like, oh, well, that's kind of cool, or oh, so that's why. It never does. The movie fails, in my opinion, for it. So story plot wise, yeah, I'm sorry, bouncing in between, but
this girl,
it just don't make sense. And then like later on, who was screwing this guy, and now is screwing that guy, presume. She's really the main reason why this monster's going after her. And it just gets real annoying the way things work out in this movie. There's no plot, there's no story. It's just random shit happening. They never explain throughout the whole movie what is the monster. Okay. Well, let's talk about the monster. The monster is what I presume to be the scarecrow. Really, honestly, you sort of get a glance of what it's going to look like when you see the scarecrow in the field. But this is the monster you see when it's killing people. I gotta admit, the CGI was actually pretty good. I'm not arguing it wasn't bad. It was good. You know, it wasn't like your regular sci-fi generic ass CGI where, like if I had this floating in air, you could clearly tell that it was a fake piece of shit CGI, poorly made CGI. A few clips. The CGI on the monster was actually pretty good. I'm really telling you the truth. I like it. It was actually pretty cool. It's actually something pretty creepy, but it's one of those things I call because it has Slender Man wannabe like Slender Man, but yet not. I'm not trying to say it is a Slender Man movie, but it just sort of does have that feel. Because, I mean, this creature can come out of nowhere like this and this. And just pop out of nowhere. Like, he comes out of a sewer tunnel. He comes out of the woods. So it sort of gives me that idea of, like, kind of like Slender Man, how he can appear in one place and then pop out in another. And I'm not trying to say that the director had the attention, but I feel like he could have had the attention of making it sort of somewhat Slender. But I mean, it doesn't really have the elements of Slender. I'm just more or less saying that the monster has elements of Slender Man than anything else. Yeah. So plot goes down, this movie, I can't really say much more about it because it's one of those things, you look at it, you might like it, you might not. I liked it. I'm giving it 3 out of 5. That's my rating. It's not great, but it's good. It's one of those things, if you want to watch it. I don't care. And if it's getting dark in here, I'm sorry, clouds are passing by, and that's how it works. So it might look darker now, but yeah, the movie was good, but not great. That's all I can really say about it. If any of you out there watch this and end up watching it and you don't like it, let me know, because honestly, I'm up and open for opinions just like everybody else.